Abba Dabby Dude! Hi there, this is Abba Dabby Dude! Welcome back. And it's another road trip today, but it's more of a road test road trip this time. If you watched the last episode, the iPace Drivers Show, the Christmas special with Gary, you'll have seen that episode was all about h264. And that's what this road trip is about. We're going to test out some of the things that we talked about. So the first thing we're going to test, and kind of the most important thing, is the charger compatibility. It supposedly has fixed the problems that the iPace has charging on eVolt compact chargers, those old style eVolts that ChargePlace Scotland use. Anybody that's a regular viewer will know exactly what I am talking about. So allegedly, supposedly, this update fixes that and the car should now charge successfully. So I'm going to recreate my charging test. If you remember, after a previous campaign, I can't remember the number of it now, was it H213? No, H228 it was also supposed to fix the charging, and I did a road trip to test out 4 chargers that I'd used previously and knew didn't work, which are all along basically Kintyre from Loch Lomond to the west coast of the Kintyre Peninsula. So I'm recreating that road trip today using those same chargers that I know didn't work before, and didn't work when I originally got the car, didn't work after H228. So if they work today, then that's a result. Then we kind of know they've fixed it, and that would be the end of ABC. I'm slightly cynical about this, but we'll see. I hope it works, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that we're still going to be in the same position afterwards. So that's the first thing we're going to check. So we drive up to Lomond Services, which is the new style Raption eVolt charger, and that works fine. I've used that so many times now, never had an issue. So we'll drive up there first to top up, because then we'll have enough charge to get all the way along Kintyre Peninsula past the Loch Long one, the Inverary one, the Loch Gilphead one, and the Kennaicraig Ferry Terminal one, and then all the way back again. And if none of those 4 chargers work, by topping up at Lomond, we've got enough to get along there, test them all out, and get back to Lomond without actually needing to charge. So we won't end up stuck. So that's the first part of what this trip is about. Second thing I'm doing is I'm doing a comparison as well of the state of charge indicator on the SatNav system. Now that's not the GOM I'm talking about, it's the state of charge indicator on the SatNav that when you put in your destination, on the left side of the SatNav display it gives you a little map showing you what your state of charge is expected to be, is anticipated to be at each waypoint that you've programmed in along your route. Now under the old pre-H264 version of the car software, it was actually quite accurate for me. Now if you've watched the iPace Drivers Show, you'll know that I was having a weird glitch where it was showing really high figures, and then as soon as I started driving, within half a mile, the figures were all plummeting by, a lot, as much as 20% drops. That glitch seems to have disappeared. So the car is now, it's not doing that anymore. So when I set off, the figures it shows are the figures it keeps. It doesn't suddenly drop by 20% like it was doing. However, they do still seem, well, they don't seem, they are way too optimistic. And I know that for a fact, because the trip I'm doing today is 285 miles. The SatNav reckons we can do that and get back without having to charge at all. It reckoned, when I set off, it reckoned that we would get there and back 285 miles and arrive home with 0%. Since we set off, we have done, I think we've done about 20 miles so far, and already it now reckons that it's improved the estimate. So it's now saying we can make it all the way to Kennakraig Ferry Terminal, all the way home, total round trip 285 miles, and it's now saying that we will get home with 6% state of charge left. That cannot be right. So what I've done is I've done my usual, yep, we're back to the spreadsheets. So I've done a spreadsheet for the figures that a Better Route Planner comes up with. Now they've revised the algorithm recently for a Better Route Planner as well, so they claim that it will be more accurate. However, I don't think they've taken h264 into account. So I've done a spreadsheet for a Better Route Planner's numbers. Right? And thirdly, I've also added to the spreadsheet, just in pen, my own numbers, which uses my rule of thumb of 1% battery for 2 miles driven. So I've done all of that. Now, the car, when I set off, was saying that we would arrive at Lomongate with 79%. The Better Route Planner says we will arrive at 74%, and my rule of thumb says we will arrive with 73%. So let's see what wins. Jaguar science, a Better Route Planner science, or me sucking my finger and sticking it in the air. Interesting little experiment, this one. I've also done the figures for the rest of the trip, but that's the first waypoint, and already you can see that there was quite a wide discrepancy. My rule of thumb and Better Route Planner are pretty close, and to be honest, whichever, you know, that's too close to call. You're never going to get it more accurate than plus or minus a couple of percent, really. But the car, on a fairly short leg, is disagreeing with Better Route Planner by 5% and me by 6%. So we'll see. Having done the 20 miles, this is the weird thing, it's dropped. So it's the first waypoint after 20 miles is now saying 74%, but the final destination of all the way back home has gone up. So it's weird. There's something, just double checking, yeah, it's still saying 6%. So it is weird. There's something a bit odd going on with the car's predicted states of charge, but I'll document it throughout the trip and we'll see how it goes. I've set the car up the same way I always do for road trips, so I've done nothing different. I'm using climate control and AC. The climate control is in auto, and we haven't got heated seats or anything on, but it's 9 degrees outside. I did precondition the car, which does make a very big difference on that first part of the journey. So we'll see how that goes as well. The batteries, from preconditioning, the batteries were warmed to 19 degrees. They're currently at 20 degrees. So they've stayed fairly consistent so far. And one thing I do want to see is, because I've programmed in all the waypoints as actual charging stops, so I'm navigating 2 chargers that are in the SatNav system as chargers. I want to see if the car, and I don't think it does, but some cars warm the batteries. If they know that you're navigating to a charger, they will warm the batteries in the final few miles so that the batteries are a bit warmer and will charge quicker. I know that the Teslas do that. I believe that the e-tron does it, I think, and I believe the EQC may do it as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I know Teslas do it. Now, Jaguar have never advertised this. They've never claimed that it does it, so I'm not expecting it to do it. But just as a little experiment, just to see, I'm going to watch those temperatures and see what they are over the trip. So I'll update you on that when we get to each charger. Well, if it doesn't do it for the first charger, I'll probably stop doing it because it's not going to do it for any of the other ones. But I'll update you anyway and let you know if that does anything. I'm not expecting it to, so I'm expecting the batteries to still be at 19-20 degrees when we get to that first charger. So yeah, that's it really for that one. As I say, there's nothing new on this trip, so I'm not going to do my road trip type video and cut in loads of dash cam footage of scenery and stuff. So I'm just going to the next time you speak to me, or I speak to you, that would be magical if you spoke to me, but the next time I do a video, it will be at the first charger at Lomond Gate. Not really an important one, because that's always worked, but I'll do a little video there anyway, because we also want to make sure that they haven't broken anything in the process. So I would rather screw the whole trip really if that first charger didn't work, but that's not going to happen. So I'll do a little video there, but then we'll basically do a little talk between each charging stop just to discuss what went on, and then cut straight to the charger with no scenery, no travel footage. And yeah, that's it for now really. That's what this video is about, and thanks for joining me on it, and we'll see how it goes. Talk to you at Lomond Gate. Okay, we have arrived at Lomond Gate Services, the old faithful, and yeah, hopefully this should be smooth, simple and painless, and should not involve any anguish or worry, but you never can tell. So as ever, got the old car, the old ChargePlace Scotland car, and let's get going with it. Okay, so as ever, we will tap the card, which is authorised. Well, that seems really quick actually, quicker than I remember. Connect your vehicle, see the lights go blue, so then just a case of plugging the car in, like so, and I am back to the charger, and press start. Now then, let's see how quick that's going to be. Watching for a green light appearing on the car. In fact, if I position myself carefully, there you go, you can see the car and the charger. So okay, there we go, there's a green light on the car, and the car is charging. Brilliant. Okay, well, at least they haven't broken that anyway, so that's a good start to the day. As you can see from the one, my prediction was 73%. We arrived here with 71, but that's not a huge surprise, because that part of the journey was all motorway, which, as we know, is much heavier on power than driving. Even at 60 miles an hour, it makes a big difference. Over 70 really does make a big difference because of the drag on the car. So yeah, there we go, we are charging. We're at 71%. My prediction was 73, better route planner 74, and the car SatNav 79. So we'll see how the next leg goes, but so far, woohoo, I win. Okay, we're going to go and grab something to eat while we charge up here, because we're going to fill up quite high. We're going to try and get up to sort of 90 or somewhere around about there, I think. And I will talk to you en route. Right, so that was a very painless charging stop, as usual, but that means the good news is that they haven't broken anything with H264, and the car still charges with those raptions, which was a minor concern for me, because, you know, things like that do happen in the software world when they try to fix one glitch. So it charged fine. In fact, it charged perfectly. No need for a reboot, which I've had in the past. And I've also used one other raption, which you haven't seen. A couple of weeks ago I did a trip, not on film, and used an Engini raption over Stirling Way, and it charged without requiring a reboot. Now I've used that one twice before, and both of those occasions it needed to be rebooted before it would charge the car. It's not, you know, it's not overwhelming evidence, it could be coincidence, but after H264, the one time I used it, it didn't require a reboot. So I'm taking that as a good sign. Today didn't require a reboot, but that charger has often worked without a reboot. It's only a couple of times I've had to reboot it. But the fact that so far we're 2 for 2 on raptions without having to reboot it So I'm taking that as a good sign as well. So the next stop will be Kennaicraig Ferry Terminal. So we're going basically all the way to the furthest point on the trip. Same way I did this after H228. So that basically, rather than stopping at all the intermediate charges on the way there, I'm going to run the battery down as low as I can by going the furthest distance. So we'll travel to the end charger at Kennaicraig, and that should run the battery down. So rather than topping it up to 90% every time, I'll only be adding maybe somewhere between 10 and 20% per charger, and the battery will be at a lower charge as well, so it will charge quicker. So that's the plan. We're not going to be stopping. We're not quite doing ABC, purely because I know that I can get from Lomondgate to Kennaicraig and back without having to charge at all. So this is purely a charger test, so I don't need to do every single charger just in case they don't work. If they don't work, we're still fine. So on to the battery temperatures. The car did not warm the batteries, so that's something I can now categorically say it doesn't do. It was 21 degrees when I spoke to you, I think, and it was 21 degrees when we got to the charger. So it has not changed. It has not warmed the battery at all. And even at the end of the charging stop, the battery temperature only gone up by 1 or 2 degrees. It was 22 when I pulled away from the charger. So the charge itself didn't actually heat the batteries up as much as I've seen in the past. I mean, I was at an Ionity not that long ago, and the battery temperature was 29 when I pulled away, and the ambient temperature then was lower than it is today. It was about 3 or 4 degrees, where today is 9 degrees at the moment. So it's obviously a faster charger, but it warmed the batteries quite a lot, where that 50 kilowatt there really only raised the battery by a degree or so. But it was only a 24% charge that I added, so that may be a factor as well. But at least now I can definitely say the car does not warm the batteries for you when it knows that your next SatNav point is a fast charger. So that's something I will be suggesting to Jaguar as a future update, because I think that's a really useful thing. It's highly beneficial. It reduces the time of your charging stop because your car will charge quicker, but it can also help prevent battery degradation due to rapid charging, which is also a good thing. So I think they should think about adding that for a future update. So let's go on to the predictions at last, the final part of this little conversation. I obviously won the first leg, not being at all smug about that. But now for the second leg, which is obviously, basically this is the longest leg of the trip, so this is the one where we can really test out who's best. So it's, the car again is very optimistic, and I just don't believe what it's telling me at all now, to be honest. But the car is saying that we will arrive at 65%. I'll flick in a screenshot of the SatNav for you there. You'll see it saying 66%. It flicked up to 66 for a very short time and then dropped back to 65. When I set off it was 65, went up to 66 after a mile or so, and now it's back at 65 again. So although it's saying 66 on that screen, the prediction of the car seems to be 65. A better route planner's prediction is 57. So you can see there's quite a disparity between those two already. And my calculation, I say calculation, my, I think, says 52. So there's a huge spread there from 65 in the car to 52 for me, and somewhere in between for a better route planner. So it will be interesting to see who is most accurate. I have a sneaky feeling it will be me again, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhere between me and a better route planner. I strongly believe that the car is going to be miles out, but we shall see. I should not be getting smug just yet. Let's wait till the results are in. But yeah, so quite a big disparity on this, like quite a big spread between the estimates. So it will be an interesting one to see which one of the three comes closest. So yeah, I guess that's it for now, and I will talk to you at Kennaicraig. The moment of truth has arrived. We are at, we are at Kennaicraig Ferry Terminal. And as I say, this has traditionally been the worst one of them all for me on this stretch. I've never managed to get a charge out of it. So, let's see how it goes. I can see they've not changed anything, so it's the same as it's always been. Trust the old ChargePlace Scotland card. Let's give this a go. Right, we can see it's the usual compact. This one's an old one because it's only got the 2 slots in the front, and the CCS is actually hanging on a hook round the back. So this is a really old one, which is why, as I say, I suspect that's why this has been traditionally the worst one of the lot. So let's get going. Swipe the card. Validating user. While it's doing that, I'll grab the CCS. It's telling me to plug in, so I will. Sorry if that was a bit shaky, but there you go. Plugged in. And there's the start button. Now, let's see what happens. Okay, it's staying green so far, and the car is staying white. Let's see if we can set up the same angle as before. There we go. So there's the car light and the charger light. You can see them both in the same shot. And oh look, it's gone to a fault indication and an error message. Okay, I'm not going to bother filming it because this is not about the whole reboot process, but I'm going to do a reboot of the charger now and try it again for you. Okay, I've done the reboot. As I say, I'm not going to show you it because that's not what this video is about, but before we completely discount it, let's give it a chance from a reboot. But not looking promising so far, it has to be said. Oops, better unplug the car. I mean, unlock the car so I can plug it in. Right, it's plugged in. And let's press start. And let's see if that's any different. I'm not overly ambitious at the moment. Not overly hopeful. So, we've got white light on the car, green light on the charger. We need a blue light on the charger and a green light on the car. Only then are we getting a successful charge. Nothing's happening so far. I mean, that's not even trying to go. Yeah, and there's a fault. So, the bad news is Kennaicraig Ferry Terminal is still not working. Okay, I'm trying one last thing because I don't want to give in too early. But if you can see this on my shoulder, this is the cable for the CCS connector. And I've been told by people in the past that looping it over your shoulder just reduces the amount that it pulls down on the connector, and it can get the charge to start. So I'm giving it a go just because I want to rule everything out before we head off to the next charger. So, once again, identify myself, press the button. Oh my word, look at that. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, sorry, I've gone quiet because I can't quite believe No! Okay, I'm going to put the cable slowly and carefully back on the ground. Well, I don't quite know what to say here. It says it's charging. It says it's charging. We arrived with 47%, by the way. I'll talk more about that on the next video link, but we arrived with 47%. So once again, I won, but even I was optimistic. I have to say, we're having horrendous weather. We're having some really strong winds. It's died down now. It's lovely now, actually, but it was raining with really strong winds. So I think that was contributing as well. But even with that, I was closest at 52% by a significant margin. But, sorry, I'm preempting the between chargers talk, so I'll talk about that more. But this is charging, people. This is actually charging. So I'm just opening the car. I just want to see the dashboard. It's charging. Look. Look. We're at 49% already. We're charging, people. We're charging at Kennakraig Ferry Terminal on an eVolt compact. We're charging. I'm so excited. This bodes so well. So we started at 47%. I'm going to take it up to... let's take it up to 60 just. That's plenty. That's just to prove that it keeps charging. But I couldn't get anywhere near this before. This is awesome. This is unbelievable. Oh! Right, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to leave it charging, but I'll talk to you on the way back to Loch Gilphead to the next charger. This one's worked though. So far. So I did 2%, and hasn't yet crashed. That's a pretty good average for these chargers. So anyway, yes, I'm going to leave it running. I'll get the car up to 60. Then we'll set off and I will talk to you on the way to Loch Gilphead. Woohoo! I don't know what to say. I'm almost speechless. That charger has never ever worked. And okay, I had to use the over-the-shoulder trick with the cable, but I've never got that charger to start. Ever. Just ever. And there you go. So we charged up from 47 to 60, so we added 13% charge. We were only getting 31 kilowatts out of it, admittedly. The batteries were at 21 degrees starting off, and they warmed up to about 24 by the end of the charge. But I'd rather get 31 kilowatts than zero. So I'm extremely happy about that, and it bodes really well for the rest of these chargers, because that, as I said, was hands down the worst one of the bunch, by a mile as well. So yeah, that's worked. It's a very good sign. So let's talk percentages. Once again, I won. There you go, that's the percentages covered. Now, we got there with 47%, so even I was optimistic. However, on the way there, we had some horrendous weather. It was raining, but primarily it was winds, just this really strong wind. That's died down and gone away completely, and I reckon it must have been about a 30 mile an hour wind. So, we are... we're sorry, my SatNav has just decided to go away. I know I've got no data. I'm in the Highlands of Scotland. Where was I? So I reckoned 52. Better Route Planner was 57 and the car was 65, and we got there with 47. Now, if you think back to the beginning of the trip, the car reckoned that we would get there with 50% without that first charging stop. Now we added 24%, which means it was 24 plus the 3, so it was 27% out on its original estimate on setting off, and I have been about 7% out, I think. I haven't done the arithmetic, but it would be about 7% out. I think I was 2 or 3 of the first stop, and then 5% out on that stop. So if I did it with my rule of thumb, 2 miles per 1%, then, and left myself a 10% buffer, I could have done that easily. If I trusted the car, I would have run out. So there you go. Technology, as marvelous as it is, sometimes is not the be all and end all. Better Route Planner was close, but not as close as me, he said smugly. But I know that Better Route Planner does build in an intentional 10% margin of safety anyway, and they do that for every vehicle, not just the I-Pace. So they're always going to be slightly pessimistic, or should be. Although, no, hang on, they were optimistic, weren't they? Yeah, forget that. I win. End of story. So, next one is Loch Gilphead. That's the one we've managed to get a partial charge at once, and then it's failed other times. Did we get 2 partial charges? But we've had occasions where it wouldn't charge at all as well. I think it's 2 for 2. I think we've had 2 partial charges and 2 complete non-charges. So if we get the if we get a charge out of that today, that's a real win again. So yeah, next stop and next talk at Loch Gilphead. See you there. Right, here we are at Loch Gilphead, one we've tried, as I say, many times before. I think 4 times I've been here. Twice partial charge, twice partial charge and twice no charge, I think. Although I'm quoting that from memory, so I might be wrong there. But it's certainly been unreliable at best, shall we say. Flaky is a good word. So yeah, going to give it a go now. In terms of percentages, I forgot to mention that in the last one, on the last link. The car was reckoning we'd get here with 53. I was reckoning we'd get here... Sorry, the Better Route Planner was saying 52. My calculation was 51. And we arrived with 50. Who won? Me again. So, yeah, there's definitely a theme running here. As I say, the weather's improved. The roads are drying. They're not yet dry, but they're not having a significant impact, I don't think, on the consumption. The wind has died down completely, and that's the big difference, I think. But anyway, let's give this a go. We're just going to try starting it the normal, old-fashioned way. Let me... Sorry, there's a bit of a charger cable tangle going on, which I'll try and disentangle before I get going this time instead of the usual. Right, there we go. Right, that's that. Okay, let's see if we can get this thing started. Exciting stuff. Okay, so it's the usual ChargePlace Scotland card. Swipe it. Wait for the screen to say it knows who I am. Validating user. There we go, user validated. That seems to be doing that quicker these days. I don't know if that's my imagination or not. But plug the car in. And press start. Can hear the fans warming up. So let's stand back. Got a blue light on the charger. Waiting for a green on the car. Come on, fingers crossed. This cable isn't as tight, so I shouldn't have to do the over-the-shoulder trick. Green light on the car. Ho-ho-ho. Still saying initial checks on the charger though. The car's gone green, the blue light is still on. We are charging. Now, we've been here before and it's stopped within a second. Oh, it's done it, it's gone error. Ah, poo, it's gone error. Damn it. Let's see what it's saying in the car. Dashboard's gone dead. At least we're not getting a high voltage error in the car. You can't see that, but it's just gone to the initializing page. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, that's not gone as well as I'd hoped this time. We're still not getting a charge out of this one. This is somewhat irritating. But hey, let's just give it another go. Let's see what else we can try. What other techniques are there? The one we can do, right, it's just gone green again. The one we can do is leave it like that. Right, I've plugged the car in. The white light is flashing, which means the car is aware that you've plugged the charger into it. I think that's what that means anyway. Right, let's give it another go. So, swiping the card, pressing the start button. It's validating user. And got a blue light on the charger. Oh dear. Oh, sorry, I'm on the face cam. We are getting the dreaded high voltage error on the car. So I know you can't see that, but if I take you around to the dashboard, you can see, oops, if I can position the camera better, it's all gone red. And as with most things in life, red is not a good sign. Okay, one last thing I'm going to do is just try the over-the-shoulder technique again. I'll show you what I've done with the cable in a second. It's quite dirty, so I don't want to put it over my shoulder. But I'll scan the card. I will pick up the cable. It's validating user. Okay. It's telling me to plug in. It's plugged in. Oh, why did the car lock itself? Don't know, the car locked itself. I'm going to stop it doing that. And then, press the start button. There go the fans. The blue light is on the charger. Now we're just waiting for lots of green lights and blue lights. Green on the car would be lovely. It's performing initial checks, it says. Sorry, I'm not showing you this, but you've seen it many times. Okay, I've got green on the car, blue on the charger. It's performing initial checks. Still performing initial checks. That green light on the car means it's at least got past the initial part. Okay, it's saying it's charging. Nope, it's gone yellow again. Fault. Yeah, this one just does not want to play for whatever reason. Doesn't want to play, and I've had good reports about this one. This one is supposedly fixed. According to my ChargePlace Scotland contacts, this one's been tested with iPace and is working great. And I don't think, and I've also had a viewer comment that he's used it. He had no end of trouble in the past. In fact, I don't think he's ever had a charge from it, and now it's working great for him. And yet for me, nothing at all. Right, well, I cannot say that went well. I tried everything. I've cut down, the footage that you've seen is quite severely cut down. I was there for ages. I tried every possible trick, lifting the cable up, plug it in, leave it for several minutes, try and start it then, hold the card against the machine and hold the start button down until the blue. I tried every one of those little tricks that sometimes work and sometimes don't. Nothing was working. I got loads of charges where it started and then it charged for like 10 seconds. I was getting 0.02 and 0.04 of a kilowatt hour added. And then it was dying. Did that so many times, then it started giving me high voltage errors, Then I had to drive a lap round the car park. You didn't see any of that, but I had to drive for a lap round the car park to clear that, and then tried again, and it was back to 0.04 kilowatt hours, etc, etc. So that was a long time, and it didn't work, basically. So we will press on to Inverary. It's a shame. I was really hoping for 100% success rate out of this, because then we would know for absolute definite that the issue was cleared. Anyway, it's not the case. So back to the percentages. The car is reckoning we will arrive at the next charger at Inverary with 41%. A better route planner reckons 39, and I reckon 38. So once again, we'll see who wins, but I think we all know the answer. So yeah, it's definitely, the roads are now actually dry. There's very occasional little bits of damp, but it's damp at worst. That wind is completely gone. It's 8 degrees, so in terms of consumption, the weather effects should be a lot less now than they were on the early portion of the drive, but I still think that my estimates will prove to be much more accurate than either forms of high-tech equipment. So take that, computers, you still don't rule the world. Okay, I will talk to you when we get to Inverary. See you there. Okay, as it's been not 100% successful now, we're arrived at Inverary with perhaps slightly more realistic expectations. The light's starting to fail as well, which is a bit of a pain, but I wasted so much time at Loch Gilphead that yeah, it's starting to get dark now, but it is winter. Why is the... Oh, sorry, disappeared there. Not sure why, but the CCS was hanging off the side of the charger instead of on the front. Okay, let's give it a go. I don't know what to expect now, but let's give it a go. So we started, we swiped the card. Sorry, I should have switched this to the... Oh, what has somebody done? This is so infuriating when people do this with the cables. It's been wrapped around the charger twice. Oops, sorry. Wrapped twice around the charger. You know, this is complicated enough without people making it more complicated. Right, car's plugged in. I've pressed the button. Let's see what happens. Okay, so far nothing on the charger. Oh, there we go. Blue light started on the charger. Now let's see if we can get that shot again. There we go. There's the car. Still flashing white, and the charger's gone green. Right, I've tried moving the car a bit closer to the charger. That's worked in the past, because the cable was a little bit tight, I have to say, because of the way it's wrapped around the post here. So let's try it again. Right, it's validating the user. Oh yeah, there's much more play in the cable now. Right, that's done. It's telling me to plug in, which I've done. And then press start. There's the fans winding up. We're waiting for that blue light, which is there. And if I pull back so we're visual with the car, let's see, do we get a green light? There's a green light, but still performing initial checks, and it's gone back to a white light, which means it's failed. Yep, it's failed. That's not what I want to see, frankly. Not what I want to see at all. Right, I'm going to try that again now. That's the car plugged in. Okay. Swipe the card. Okay. And then start the charger up. And great. A red light. Marvellous, marvellous, marvellous. Okay, we're going to try one more time. Right, so start by plugging the car in. Then swipe my card. Wait for it to validate user. And there we go, nearly done. Okay, I've plugged the car in already. So there we go, now I'm waiting for that green light from the car. If I get that, I am going to lock the car as soon as it starts, as soon as it goes green. There we go. There's the car locked. And let's see what happens. Okay, so far so good. I should have kept my mouth shut. It's just stopped. I heard the clunk noise that I was talking about earlier. And, oops, a bit close to see, but there's your yellow fault light and error message. Yep, so Inverary has also failed. So that's none of them working basically. The two that have worked for me in the past haven't worked, and the one that has never worked has given me a charge. Now I've only got Loch Long to fall back on. I've got 35% charge. Yeah. And I don't know how much I need to get to. There's a thought. I'm not sure how much I need to get to Lomondgate. No, I don't need as much as 35% to get to Lomondgate. That's for definite. But yeah. Okay. I'm going to say that that's another failed charge. Because it is. And I'll talk to you a bit on the way to the next charger. Right, well, it's not been the most successful of days then, as it turns out. Despite getting off to a strong start, which got my hopes up, I admit, with Kennakraig, neither Loch Gilphead nor Inverary have started a charge. It was the same process at both chargers. Constantly, just about every time I tried to start a charge, it started, then ran for a couple of seconds and died. And it was literally a couple of seconds. The most I got out of any of those mini sessions was 0.04 kilowatt hours. So yeah, it's been, you know, they were all useless. They were literally starting and dying straight away. So out of the 3 chargers so far, only one of them worked, and it was a bit of a struggle to get it to work. Not too bad, admittedly, but I did have to use the cable over the shoulder technique. I've tried that at both Loch Gilphead and Inverary. Didn't work. Tried just about every other special magical technique that I've tried in the past. Nothing was working at either of them. So the next one is Loch Long. That's not going to prove anything really much, because it's always worked, but we may as well stop and see if anything's changed on that one as well, if it's, you know, if this has made that one worse somehow. So we will head for there. The car reckons, I forgot to talk about this at the last Inverary charger, but again I won. So the car overestimated, Better Route Planner overestimated, and I got it within 1%. This one is predicting that we'll arrive at Loch Long with 27%. Better Route Planner saying 26%, and my calculation saying 24%. So we'll see how that one goes. But as I've been correct, or closer to being correct on every one so far, I've got a suspicion that I'm going to win this one again. Although I have to say it feels less like I've won something after all the failed charges. So, yep, Loch Long next. And yeah, the light's failing, so apologies for the poor lighting now, but hopefully you can at least roughly make out where I am on the screen. And I'll talk to you when we get to Loch Long at the charger. See you then. Okay, it's the last experiment. It's not really much of an experiment, this one, to be honest, because we've used this before and it's never failed us, although sometimes it's been difficult to start, admittedly. Let's just hope that nothing's become broken in the meantime. I'm just doing the camera on the charger because it's pitch black. When I try and film myself, you literally can see nothing. I need to get some kind of lighting arrangement, I think, if I'm going to do any more of these winter road trips. But there we go, swiped my card, it's validating user. I know if I can see what the hell I'm doing. Still validating user actually, but I don't know why I bothered turning that round, you can't see that. Come on, it's just validating now. Is it validated? Right, there we go. Plug the car in, which I've done, and press the start button. You can't even see my finger on the start button. But there go the fans. Whoops. I'll try and show you the car. There we go. We've got blue light on the charger. And what have we got in the car? Come on, there's the green. So now it says it's performing initial checks. Now I just need it to complete them. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, it's charging. You can see we arrived with 24%. So that's another win for me. Okay, we seem to be charging. I mean, it has started first time this time, which is something. So yeah, we got here with 24%, which is exactly what I said we would. So now that the wind's died down and the roads have dried up a bit, my rule of thumb really is working pretty well. So yeah, we're charging now at Loch Long. Admittedly, it started an awful lot easier than it has in the past, but that could be coincidence. I don't think we can abandon ABC yet, if ever, because so far with the compacts it's been abysmal, really. I mean, Kennaicraig worked, Loch Gilphead didn't, Inverary didn't, and Loch Long did. So it's a 50% success rate on this trip. So if you run all the way until you're down at between 10 and 20%, you might hit the charger that isn't going to work. So nothing's changed really, although Kennaicraig did work, which gave me some encouragement. And this one fired up really easily, which I think it's only fired up first time like that once, I think, in all the times I've used it. The other times it's taken multiple attempts. But as I say, with the Loch Gilphead and Inverary disasters, there's really not much positive to take from this. I guess the positive is that nothing's broken, nothing's worse than it was, but we are still going to be ABCing. The car SatNav is, well, we'll talk about that once we finish charging on the way home. We'll go through a bit of a summary of what we've learned today. Right, I'll leave it for now and I'll talk to you after the charge on the way home. Okay, so that was Loch Long. As normal, no problems. We got a charge from it and it charged us up to the desired level of 55%. I've charged up to, which is plenty to get us home now. That charge has never failed to charge us, although apart from, I think it was the very first time I used it, when it started first time with no problems. Every other time since then it's taken multiple attempts to get it to kick into life. But today, plugged in, swiped my card, and off it went. So it was first time, but I don't know whether to, you can't read too much into that, because it may be that I'll go back there tomorrow. I mean, I'm not going back there tomorrow, but I could go back there tomorrow and it might take 20 attempts to start. I don't know. It feels to me like H264 hasn't done anything with reference to the compacts, the eVolt compact chargers. It does seem to have improved the experience with the Raptions, but I think those eVolts still need the new board before they'll work properly with the iPace. So it would appear, are still stuck with ABC if we can't find enough Raptions on our routes. So ABC lives on. Well, it's kind of become my trademark, so obviously Jaguar didn't want to disappoint me by making life too easy. So yeah, we're no further forward really. I mean, 50% is slightly better than I've normally had, but I think that's coincidence more than anything. I don't think anything has changed. I think the compacts are still exactly as they've always been, and I think it was just Kenna Craig's turn to work today. So yeah, that's the first thing. Now we're heading home, and the final leg of the journey, the car is saying 29%. The Better Route Planner is saying that we'll arrive home with 22%, and my calculations are saying 18%. I'm not going to film this all the way home, but I'll leave a little note down in the description underneath just to say what state of charge we actually arrive home with, but 18% is my prediction. Now, interestingly, well, I find it interesting, I just did some quick calculations there on range based on the first half of the journey, because we did that we did it with only one charging stop, so we weren't constantly stopping and starting on the way there, and it was 142 miles that we drove, and we used 71%, which it was actually quite an easy calculation, because 142 divides nicely by 71. It equates to exactly a 200 mile range. Now, bearing in mind that on the way there it was extremely windy, like at least 30 mile an hour winds, maybe even more, but definitely 30 mile an hour winds. It was raining, the roads were wet, and the highest temperature we got to was about 9 degrees, and I think the lowest was about 6, so it was between 6 and 9 degrees, single digits, so fairly cold, and got a range of 200 miles. So in addition, you have to bear in mind the types of roads we're driving on here. The first bit of the journey, I think about 40 miles, was motorway driving, which, as sorry to belabor the point, but motorway driving takes the greatest toll on EVs. But also then the rest of the drive is these twisty, windy roads on hills as well. So there's a lot of uphills and a lot of braking and accelerating, and cold weather, and winds, and rain, and a bit of motorway. Really, 200 miles is impressive. And I did say, if you saw my original discussion with Gary on episode 1 of the iPace Drivers show, I did say at that point, if I could get my winter range to 200 miles, I would be very happy. Well, there you go. Winter range, 200 miles, exactly. And also, rather usefully, the GOM, when I charged up there at 50% state of charge, I checked, and the GOM was reporting 100 miles on 50%. So in other words, the GOM is saying 200 miles of range, and my calculations are saying 200 miles of range. So the GOM now has become apparently very accurate. The downside, let's move on to the SatNav. It's useless for planning purposes, absolutely useless, unfortunately. I believe there are developments coming to that. I'm sure that, well, I know they are working on it, and I hope they will be able to get it a lot more accurate. But as it stands at the moment, well, let's put it this way: when we set off from home, the car was telling me we had a range of 285 miles. Never, ever in history, or at any time in the future until they bring out a whole new version of the car, there is not an I-Pace in the world with 22-inch wheels in winter or even in summer that can be expected to get 285 miles. So that was useless, and it remained useless. As I say, I'll stick a note down below for this final leg, but every other leg so far has been out by a factor, I mean sometimes as much as 10%. On a fairly short leg, which means even if you used it for a long trip and planned to get there with 20%, chances are you wouldn't make it. So the SatNav is useless for planning. A better route planner was much better for planning, but still not 100% accurate. And what was the good planning tool? Me. So if you're planning a road trip on the I-Pace, give me a call and ask me what your range will be, because the SatNav and the better route planner won't get it right. But anyway, that aside, I mean, as I say, better route planner is generally pretty good, and today I think it fell short because of the conditions on that first part of the journey. But on every leg, my 2 miles per 1% has been the most usable and the most accurate of the three methods. So there you go. It's a shame because the SatNav prior to H264, the SatNav was brilliant. Well, I'm not sure if it was prior to H264 or prior to the 19C update, which we've also had now. But one of those has, maybe a bit of both, has completely changed the car's calculations, and it is way too optimistic now, to the extent that it is literally unusable for planning purposes, which is kind of the whole point of that being there in the first place. I will admit that once you've set off, the next waypoint does correct itself after maybe 20 miles, 10 to 20 miles, somewhere in there. But by then you've planned your journey. You know, it's not an easy process to find another charger at that point. So yeah, I'm underwhelmed by that, because it used to be super accurate, really. I mean, I went down to, you didn't see a video on this, but I went down to Manchester just not long before, a few weeks before H264 was applied and 19C, and all the way down to Manchester, it was I got to Manchester, I think, within 1 or 2% of what the SatNav's prediction was. So it was super accurate back then, and something's gone wrong with it now. But I'm not too pessimistic, because I know they're working on it, and I know that if they manage to get it spot on before, with a bit of tweaking, I'm sure they'll be able to fix it again. But at the moment, if you're planning a trip, please do not rely on what the SatNav tells you before you set off. Okay? Use a better route planner, put in realistic weather conditions, and you'll make it. So yeah, that's it for this one. As I say, I'll leave a final note in the description just of what my state of charge on arrival at home was, but yeah, unfortunately it's not been a hugely feel-good video with packed to the brim with great news, but it's not been awful either. Once again, we've made it with no real crises. It's just unfortunate that the main purpose of the trip, which was to hopefully prove that the compacts now worked with the Jag, has really just proved that nothing much has changed in that respect. So ABC lives on, and I'm sure you will see it in all its splendour on the next road trip. So that's it for this one. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have, then do click on the like button. That thumbs up always helps the channel. And if you're enjoying the videos, then please do subscribe. If you want to subscribe, you can do that right now by clicking my ugly little face over there. And don't forget to check out the other videos on my channel like this one up here. Till next time, this is Abu Dhabi Dude saying so long, take care, see you soon. Bye. Abu Dhabi Dude.